Okie dokie, Kim. So interesting thing happened the other day in Sweden. Our customs authorities got fined, not a massive amount, but they got fined for a quite interesting little case, according to our Swedish Data Protection Agency, EMY. And they were fined roughly 30,000 euros, something like that, similar to at least, for a very, what seems to be... it's not that big of a deal, maybe, but one of their, or a couple of their employees had Google Photo on their work phones. And because of that, and because there wasn't a sufficient protection to use that app on those phones for those specific employees, our customs authorities got fined. And I'm not really sure what to think about that, really. Google Photo is not okay for any purpose, apparently.
My first reaction was, but I bet you that OneDrive and Office 365, that is of course fully okay to have on if you don't have Google Photo, or perhaps not.
No.
Perhaps we can finally say government agencies and any American-held cloud service, now you're in trouble. Sorry to say. You're in trouble. So, yeah, so that's one thing. But let's face it, as the Data Protection Authority mentions directly, they don't think data has been leaked in that sense, that it has come to unauthorized use, because there are good protections in the Google accounts. Google have really solid protection to keep things private in a Google account. So that's not the part. The illegal part was it's been hosted by an US-owned cloud service. So it was subject for unauthorized transfers. That's the simple part of it. So let's face it, it's hard today not to encounter services anywhere. So this sets the opinion. Should you have work-related stuff on your private phone, or should you have a private-related stuff on your work phone? And the answer is no, sorry to say. You need to keep them separate.
Yeah. But isn't it super used? I mean, it's so common, isn't it, that people use... I mean, even if you get the phone from your employer, most everyone put personal stuff on that phone immediately. If it's not social media accounts, it's photo accounts, you make it your own, you make it private, right? And the other way around is even worse, when the employer refuses to give you a phone, but they do expect you to be available, so you have to carry with you your private phone to work in order to someone to get a hold of you. Just random example, Swedish schools, for instance, do exactly that with their teachers. Shame on you for doing that. That's all I have to say. But so they force their employees to bring their private phones to work. Well, then you bring your private phone, which is super private to begin with, into your work environment. But in my mind, the authorities won't care if either one is true. They just look at the actual process, don't they?
Yeah. And do you leak work-related data? That's the important part. Because I might, from my personal use, my private use, enable a sync service to any one of these cloud services. Now, let's face it. On Android, it's Google you sync with. On iOS, it's Apple you sync with. Both are just as bad from a work-related perspective on a GDPR point, because both are US-held services and subject to the failures with Schrems and etc., etc. So, no, you can't do any of those. You can't sync with any of those. So you have to be really, really careful. What do you do from a work-related perspective? So if you have a phone with the intention of taking pictures that are work-related, that contain personal data, like the customs, they took license plate pictures. That is a big no-no unless you have a dedicated work phone for that purpose only.
Yeah, and just to have that said, we don't know what the scenario was in this case. If it was a private phone at work, or if it was an employer given phone to the employee who then added personal stuff on it. We're not sure what's true here, but that's beside the point.
The point was, people were able to enable the sync with Google Photo, and work-related pictures were synced to a private Google Photo account. And that's a no-no. That's a no.
No.
You are, from a GDPR point, you yourself alone, of course, able to enable a private sync of your photos on your personal phone.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, you know what? Guess what? 99% of people do that. And they don't really care that it goes to the United States and is handled and managed, because they accept the risks that comes with that.
Mm-hmm.
They can accept. So let's say that even the Data Protection Agency in Sweden didn't see this as a huge threat. That's why they didn't give them huge fines. They just saw it that, yeah, is it legal in comparison to GDPR? And the answer is strictly no, it's not legal. So, but that said, how do you sensibly use your phone? And I still maintain, if your intention is to have a phone with work that you intend to use as a work tool and take pictures in work, take videos in work, with work, then you should have a dedicated phone. Then you're back to having one phone for personal use and one phone for work use. There's really no way around that one.